Let us pray together. Almighty God, the true ruler of our lives, we rejoice that we live in such a wonderful community which is filled with evidences of your glory. As we gather this evening, we thank you for all the blessings we enjoy as citizens of this great nation and this wonderful community. Hear us, O God, as we lift up our prayers for those who govern us. As those whom we have chosen to lead us gather this evening, we pray that you will guide them in their discernment, that you will give them wisdom in their deliberations and their decisions, and that you will grant them open minds and hearts as they discuss the matters that will come before them. Grant that they will lead with both wisdom and grace and seek to serve the residents of Huntsville in a way that enhances the well-being of every resident of our community. Amen.
Please face the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dr. Lovell, and thank you, Councilman Culver. The minutes from the January 26, 2017 meeting have been received, and they'll stand approved if there's no objections. Tonight we have a group of Boy Scouts with us. We have a big troop. They have met with, I believe, John Hamilton and maybe the mayor earlier today. I'd like to ask JP Solo Hub to come to the microphone and tell us what troop they're from and what badges they're working on. Welcome.
Thank you. Well, I'm JP Solahub. We're from Troop 361 at Holy Spirit Parish down on Airport Road. We're here to work on our citizenship in the community and communications merit badges. And also this year is our 50th anniversary as a troop. Just thank you for having us.
Thank you, JP. If we can help you, let us know. We're now at resolutions and special recognitions. Mayor, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. If I could ask Kenny Anderson to come forward. We have CAFY Youth of the Month Award this month, and Kenny, it looks like we've got another outstanding young person.
We absolutely do. In fact, this is one of our most outstanding award winners thus far. She has a resume that's literally 3 pages long because she's done so many things. And I won't read everything, but I'll just give some highlights for Cameron Shields. Cameron has been a Huntsville-Madison County Leadership Challenge class of 20 and 21. She's been a State of Alabama House of Representative Page, Beta Club member, a DAR national finalist for community service, and among her many volunteer services are the Harvest Youth Club each week, the Miracle League, the Downtown Rescue Mission, Santa's Village, Manor House, 305 8th Street, Emma Wheeler Homes, Special Olympics, Legacy Elementary School, Valley View Nursing Home, the House of Harvest, and she's a full-time student. And so for all of that she has done for our community for the month of February, Cameron Shields is being recognized as the Rocket City Broadcasting CAFY Young Citizen of the Month. Congratulations. I have several people here tonight that want to give you something very quickly.
Well, I'm going to talk with a couple of hats on. Number one, as the founder, my wife and I, as the founder of Young Citizen of the Month, we looked at your records, and you are, without a doubt, the most awarded, educated, and well-rounded winner we have had in the history of this program. And a 4.1, your missions throughout the world, physically, mentally, and spiritually, it's just astounding. And we appreciate you representing this organization as our February winner. And with my hat on as Huntsville Utility Representative, on behalf of Mr. Tony Owens, we have a great Huntsville Utilities backpack that we're launching tonight. You are the first one to get it. And inside of this bag, we have something for you physically, mentally, and spiritually, and financially. Don't spend it all in one place. And with my third hat on, speaking for our brothers and sisters at the Optimist Club who could not make it tonight, you have a package here with an item in it that maybe you could redeem at a store as well. So thank you so much for all that you have done for our community, and congratulations, Cameron.
Okay, Carmen, on behalf of the Human Relations Commission for the City of Huntsville and the mayor of this great city, I present you your certificate for all of your wonderful achievements. Congratulations, sweetheart.
Thank you.
Cameron, on behalf of the Huntsville Police Department and Chief Mark McMurray, we present you with this certificate in recognition of exemplary service to your community. Congratulations, and keep up the good work.
Thank you, and Cameron. Finally, we have a coin from the city, and the coin from the city is given to people who make this city a better place, make this area a better area, make North Alabama a better place. So thank you so much for all that you have done, and here's your coin from the city. Thank you so much. Thank you, Cameron. And now we'd like to ask Steve Ivey, our Director of Parks and Recreation, to come forward. He has a group who has also brought fame to the Huntsville and Rocket City area, and they're swimmers today. So turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mayor. Tonight we're here to recognize another state champion team. Last council meeting we had the boys. Tonight we have the girls. Huntsville's known for bringing home the blue, and again we did it this year. We're real proud of Westminster this year. They won their first state championship in swimming. They got a young team. Their future's bright. Coach, will you come up and tell us about your team and your state winners?
I'm just can't tell you how blessed I am to be a part of the Westminster Christian Academy swim team. These young ladies, great athletes, wonderful young people, and the parents we've been working with. And we had 8 swimmers qualify for state. They all swam their 2 events. And we did not have a superstar. We don't have a superstar, but we have a great team that works together and accomplish the state championship. So I'm going to call, first of all, within the swim meet, we had 2 championship relays. No individual champions, but they banded together as relays and became champions. So I'm going to call 5 of the ladies up here now, and that would be Lauren, Ebony, Amanda, Jewel, and Olivia. And they will come over here on this side. This is a state champion relay group. The swim meet consists of 12 events. Starts with diving, and then you have 11 swimming events. And we don't have any divers. We're going up against the Dynasty team from St. Paul Episcopal, and they had 13 points in the diving from point 0. We had nothing, and they had 13. So this was the first swimming event of the meet, and a relay has 4 members on it, but these 5 contributed together throughout the season, and you get 4 relay swimmers plus an alternate. And so after that first relay, it was a huge win that moved us up 4 points from being down 13, and it gained 4, and then we could start whittling it away. And I want to mention one senior, if you could come over here, Miss Olivia. We have one senior on our team. She's contributed for 6 years and has set school records for 6 years and been at state 6 years. And I just couldn't be more proud to have seen her on the top of the medal podium with her relay teammates. So this was a state champion relay. Congratulations, ladies. We had a second relay later on in the meet event, the 8th swimming event near the end. And so if you 3 ladies could come up here, that again with Ebony, Olivia, and these 3, that comprises the 4 relay swimmers plus an alternate that worked together throughout the year. And that was a real tipping point. We'd been working our way event by event to try to make up that initial deficit, and it was anybody's ball game between us and the Dynasty St. Paul's team that's won it all these years. And so with 3 events to go, this relay pulled an upset that wasn't supposed to happen. And so we just touched out St. Paul's. That means we moved up 4, they moved down 4. It was an 8-point swing. And at that point it was like, wow, we're going to win the meet. These girls are going to win the meet. And that was super exciting. So Miss Ebony, Olivia, Rebecca, and Heather, and Brooke, congratulations, ladies, on that relay. And we didn't have any individual winners, but we had 3 silver medalists, and that would be Rebecca Hamilton and Jewel Krings and Lauren McAdams as silver medalists at the state meet. So a huge contribution from them. I anticipate in the future we will have superstars because we have such a young team. But once again, just such a blessing to be a part of the lives. These girls are fun, they're funny, they're hardworking, their parents contributed all through the year. And I just want to say, Mr. Mayor and the City Council, thank you for allowing us to have time to recognize wonderful accomplishments of our young people. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And ladies, if y'all would go back and shake the hands of the council members and the city administrator, who one of y'all knows pretty well, and just let them say congratulations.
Great job. Congratulations. Great job. Good to see you. Congratulations. Great job. Good luck to you. Congratulations. Thank you, Coach. Appreciate you. Incredible.
Coach, thank you so much. And if we could ask Chief McFarland from Huntsville Fire and Rescue to come forward. We had a real special, our guys did the normal job. They went out and they did the right thing and they made sure that people were safe, and they rescued some people, and that's their job day to day. Most of them will tell you that's just their job, but we want to recognize them for the great job that they did. And Chief McFarland.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City Council, for allowing us to present these awards tonight. We've got Awards of Valor. An Award of Valor is usually given when you not only go above and beyond, but when you put yourself in great risk or great harm to affect someone else's life. And I will tell you this, first of all, I want to reach out into some of our other partners in public safety. Chief McMurray and Huntsville Police, thank y'all for helping us with what you did that day with the traffic. Don Webster of Hemsey was awesome. Your paramedics did a tremendous job working with the patients. We were able to get them out. I will tell you on this particular event, I've looked at this, I've read the comments, I've talked to our folks. I've been involved in the fire service for 40 years this year. I've seen a lot of stuff. I will tell you this is probably the most complex rescue I have ever known of being pulled off, and our personnel executed it perfectly. Even when they had obstacles thrown at them, they overcame them. And I will tell you, if I could, I'm asking some of our guys, come on up to here if you would. We've got 16 people that we're going to recognize with this, and for the job they did on this. Again, it's a very, very complex, but due to the training they do every day, and I would like to say just by the sheer grace of God and these folks that you see standing up here, it's determination that they would not accept failure, that folks were not going to die in that fire on their watch if they had to give their life doing it. That's what made the difference that day. And at this time, I'd like to ask District Chief David Whitman to come up. And he was a district chief on that day, along with other district chiefs with command. He wound up on what we would call interior command, which is another way of saying he was commanding from the inside, also had on turnout gear and air pack, and was part of the rescue himself, because everybody had to do what they had to do. And I'd like for him just to have a few minutes to tell you a little bit about the details that took place that day. Chief Whitman.
Thank you, Chief. First of all, I'd like to thank the City Council and the Mayor for allowing us to be here today to recognize these men for what they did. Secondly, I also like to say that this in no way takes away from what every shift, every day, we have somebody risk their lives in our department for somebody else. And so this isn't to take anything away from them or that, but on this incident, on this one scene, so many things came together and had to be overcome that it merited recognition for these guys. When the initial call came out, it began to throw us curves right off the bat. It came in as the wrong address, which, because of our standard operating procedures, things changed drastically because of that. The guys, the initial crews, were quickly able to locate the fire and the structure, And when they arrived, they had heavy smoke and flames showing from the third floor. It was a 3-story apartment building. They went around back. The only entrance to these apartments was on the back side, wooden stairs, wooden balconies. When they got around back, one person had already jumped from the third floor. They got him away from the building, and he immediately told them there was 2 children still trapped on the third floor. So the initial crews began to ascend the stairs. When they got to the top, they found heavy fire conditions. They made their way across the balcony, which was burning, and into the apartment. They did a quick search and pretty quickly located the 2 children. They began to extricate one of the children, keeping in mind it took 4 firefighters to carry one child. It's not like in the movies. So as they began to come across the deck, again, it's still burning. One of our firefighters actually fell through the deck, becoming entrapped himself. He had to extricate himself. He continued down. When he got that kid to the ground, he didn't even realize how bad he was hurt until he got down. He had to be transported to the hospital as well, but he never stopped. That left 2 guys upstairs. They quickly knew they were being cut off by fire, and that the way out that they had come in wasn't going to be viable to get that child out, and they had to make a decision. They came back down. At that time, I had arrived with a fresh engine company, and actually one of the drivers that was already on scene had suited up. We came around back. The guys grabbed me, and they told me we still had 2 children trapped up. We had 1 child, trapped upstairs. They had 1 child down, and Himsey already was working on that child. Me and one of the other guys ascended the stairs. When we got to the top, we were making our way up the stairs, which were burned away. And when I got to the very top, my hands went through, and I realized we couldn't even get to the child that way. We had to find another way. So I told him we got to go back down. When we went back down, that's when one of the things really clicked, like Chief McFarland touched on some training. I called for what we call a 2-ladder rescue. I told them, get me 2 ladders, set them up under the windows. They already had 1. They grabbed another ladder and set it up, and I said, I need 2 guys in there now. And one of these guys, he knows who he is. When he went by me, I don't believe his hands ever touched the ladder. The boy ran up the ladder in the window. There was another one right behind him. They went in the window. Now, you got to keep in mind, we've got heavy fire up there. We have no hoses up there. There's no water to protect them. They're going in without it. I said, I need 2 more guys on the ladder to receive the patient when he comes out. 2 guys take off up. At that time, I grabbed the last guy that was fresh. We went back up the stairs, and we were actually able to grab a hose line that was halfway up, and we crawled across what was left of the burning balcony and got in the doorway between the rescue and the fire, cut the fire off. We were able to push the fire back and hold the fire off of them while they got the child to the window, out the window, and into the waiting arms of the firefighters on the ladder. A lot of things, like I said, came into play that day. A lot of guys risk it all. We got the child down, and once we did, we were able to push into that apartment, and with some help from some more crews that were then coming in, we put the fire out. The building's still standing. 2 things I want to make really drive home. From the day 1 in rookie school, we're taught that we work as a team. We go in together, we come out together. And I want to tell these guys how much I appreciate them letting me speak for them, because we are all one family and we all do work together. The other thing is that we have a saying in the fire department that we risk a lot to save a lot. We risk a little to save a little. On that day, I can promise you, every one of those men you see standing there risk everything. At some point in time in that rescue, they risk everything to save those kids. But because of that, those 2 children got to spend Christmas with their families, and they're here tonight. So again, I want to thank everybody. Again, I want to thank everybody. Again, thank you for letting us be here to acknowledge what these guys did. Chief.
Thank you, Chief Whitman. If you would just stay where you are right there. Mayor, I think if we're ready, if you'd like to hand out the certificates, I'll call them up.
All right.
The first one, I actually want to go to District Chief David Whitman, who's part of the rescue team.
Yes, sir. Thank you. If you would go ahead and let the council say thank you.
I don't know, walk again. Okay, good. Captain Mike Crumley. Driver Steve Alverson. Okay, here we go.
Thank you, guys. We appreciate it. Say hi to these guys. Okay, pass.
Firefighter Withrow.
Thank you, sir.
Captain Dan Williams. Driver Jimmy Davis. Firefighter Stennett. Captain Pickens. Driver Casale. Firefighter Cochran. Captain Tim Cartwright. Driver Pfeiffer. Firefighter Hewlett. Firefighter Moss. Firefighter Tyler Green.
Chief, thank you so much. And to all our firefighters, to all of our personnel with the city of Huntsville who do that job every day, and all of them just say, I was just doing my job. It's one of those things that makes each of us realize how lucky we are as a community to have these people out here working for us, working for our community, and making sure we're safe. So thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mayor Battle. For those in the audience, this would be a good time to leave if you'd like to.
Stay put, buddy. Hey, nice coat. At least somebody will not you to buy. I'm having to buy mine obviously because I gained so much weight I had to buy some new ones.
Ain't a fourth of it.
Sorry, we gotta use the ramp.
Thank you, Mayor Battle. That was an excellent presentation. Our president, Dr. Robinson, is out of town tonight tending to a family matter. She is tending to her daughter recovering from an accident, and she's helping care for her grandchildren. So please keep her in your thoughts and prayers, and we wish her safe travels back home. Council members, we have one resolution for adoption. It's a resolution recognizing the Members Only Club on hosting its annual Valentine's Day Ball to be held February 11, 2017 at the National Speleological Society. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. Key, second by Mr. Culver. Discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It carries. Mr. Keith, you wish to say anything about this resolution?
I'm excited for everybody that is planning on coming out, and I thank everybody for the support.
Thank you, Mr. Keith. There are no special recognitions. Does anyone have any announcements? We have no business with outside legal representation. We're now at public hearings to be held. Now is the time and place for a public hearing on a resolution authorizing the city clerk treasurer to assess the cost of demolishing the property located at 1610 Calvary Northwest, aka 1610 Calvary Street Northwest, Huntsville, Alabama. Ms. Jordan.
Yes, Mr. Russell, council. The attached resolution authorizes the assessment for the cost of the demolition and removal of debris at this property. All requirements for declaring, demolishing, and billing this public nuisance have been completed in accordance with the city ordinances, and I'm asking for your approval for this assessment.
Thank you, Ms. Jordan. Does anyone from the public wish to address the council on this particular matter? Mr. Timberlake, give your name and address for the records, please.
Mr. President, Ralph Timberlake, 2117 Atkins Drive, Huntsville, Alabama, 35810. I rise in opposition to this particular amendment because, from my reading of it, that the due diligence may not have been done either intentionally or accidentally. Being a nation of laws, we should be a proponent, all of us, what is called due process. Due process is a form to which the founding fathers found to be so germane, so necessary, that they wrote it into this document. Why am I talking about due process? Because as I read this particular document, it said that a letter will be sent to these particular alleged offenders so that they could look at this and have a chance to question the government. As you well know, the Constitution says you cannot deprive any citizen of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Mr. President, this has the potential, it has the appearance that due process in this particular case may not have been rendered. And that, to that end, I respectfully ask that you ensure that due process is rendered to any and all of the citizens under your auspices before any type of taking of their life, liberty, or property is done. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, sir. Does anyone else wish to address the council on this particular issue? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. The chair moves for approval.
Second.
Second by Mr. Kling. Discussion. Mr. Keith?
Yes. Thank you, Chair. Do we have a process when we do? Can you just give a quick update on what the process is, how we assess it, so forth and so on?
Sure, Councilman Keith, we do notify the property owner of record through the Madison County Tax Office.
Yes, ma'am.
And the probate office, and those letters are sent via U.S. Postal Service. That's what I believe Mr. Timberlake's concern is. He doesn't feel that test meets the requirement, but it does. We're following the state of Alabama code.
That is a state law, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It carries. Now is the time and place for a public hearing on a resolution authorizing the city clerk treasurer to assess the cost of demolishing the property located at 2702 Penland Avenue Northwest, Huntsville, Alabama. Ms. Jordan?
Yes, Mr. Russell, again, this resolution authorizes the assessment for the cost of this demolition, and we did follow all requirements declaring, demolishing, and billing this property, so we are asking for approval of the assessment.
Thank you, Ms. Jordan. Does anyone from the public wish to address the council on this particular matter? Ms. Reed, state your name and address for the record, please.
Jackie Reed, Jack Coleman Drive.
Welcome.
I'd just like to ask, you know the cost of what it costs to demolish these homes? And when you demolish them, what happens to them? And were the homeowners notified? I'm sure they say yes, but what happens to this property when it's demolished? Does the owners ever get them back, or do they sell them to somebody, or how does that work? That's what I want to know. Thank you.
Okay. Does anyone else wish to address the council?
Mr. President.
Mr. Timberlake, state your name and address for the record, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ralph Timberlake, 2117 Atkins Drive, Huntsville, Alabama, 35810. I am concerned that the amount of money that's being required to demolish these properties, I'm concerned, has a contract been let? is these properties being demolished and removed at the least amount of cost that this can be done? And is there anything that the city can do to ameliorate the cost assessing these properties? E.g., if you let the property, if the city tears down the property, it's a fixed cost. If you have a contractor tear down a house, he or she may have this at a different level that is prohibitively high. Because I seen on one of these properties being torn down, it is $17,000. That is an ordinary amount of money, it's a lot of money to me to tear down some property. And there was no pictures on there to show what the structure, the size of the structure, what the structure looked like at that time. Could you ask that pictures be made a part of the record so we can see if, in fact, this property is being torn down and what it looks like probably before and after, but definitely before it is being torn down. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, sir. Does anyone else wish to address the council on this particular issue? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. The chair moves for approval. A second by Mr. Culver. Ms. Jordan, Ms. Reed asked the cost of demolition and what happens to the property. Could you briefly address that, please?
Sure. It just depends. If the property owners are interested in maintaining the property, they can pay the assessment and the property remains theirs. The city isn't interested in having these, properties scattered throughout the city. We're not interested, to be quite honest, in demolishing them. The goal is for compliance by the property owners to maintain their property and keep them in a safe condition and a condition that doesn't pose a nuisance to the neighbors. So that's why they come before you. There's a process that we follow. We bring all of these properties before you to get your permission to demolish them if we have not been successful in encouraging the property owner to do so. The cost for Penland was $13,282.89. If Mr. Timberlake looked on the site, all of the tipping fees and the invoice from the Public Works Department are included with this resolution. I'd be happy to share with him my copies tonight for his review.
Sure, thank you. Does anyone else have discussion or questions for Ms. Jordan?
Yes, Mr. Jordan, to your knowledge, usually the majority of these that we find out about are a lot of anonymous tips about these properties that we sometimes can get.
It just depends. We do both proactive and reactive inspections of properties, but many of them, as you know, Mr. Keith, are just an eyesore in the community.
Absolutely.
We work with property owners. Many of them have been in our system for years before they even become, an item on your council agenda.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It carries. Now is the time and place for a public hearing on a resolution authorizing the city clerk treasurer to assess the cost of demolishing the property located at 1908 Polk Drive Northeast, Huntsville, Alabama. Ms. Jordan.
Yes, Mr. Russell, this property, we followed all of the requirements for declaring, demolishing, and billing the public nuisance. We did contact the owners again as required by state law, and we're asking for your approval of this assessment.
Thank you. Does anyone from the public wish to address the council on this particular issue? Mr. Timberlake, please state your name and address for the record.
Ralph Timberlake, 2117 Atkins Drive, Huntsville, Alabama, 35810.
Thank you.
Mr. President, as I asked before, what is the impediment? What will encumber the community development from putting pictures on there so that we can have a visual recitation of what these properties look like? I think that needs to be done, and I think that nothing was addressed a while ago about what are we doing to abate the prohibitive cost of tearing down these properties, $13,000 and $14,000 and $17,000. A lot of money for these demolition of properties. I could see how it could be easily scamming someone or making something done. And Ms. Jordan alluded to the fact of following procedures. But no one has addressed the fact that I have talked about a constitutional procedure of due process. Due process is a procedure that seems like is not being given its due diligence or the respect to which that it warrants. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Ms. Timberlake. Does anyone else wish to address the council on this particular issue?
And
The
Mr.
public,
President-
the public hearing is now closed. The chair moves for approval.
Second.
Second, Mr. Culver. Mr. Battle, did you wish to say something?
Just like to point out one thing, that most of the time these pictures are done when we condemn those houses so that we can tear them down. The pictures are here and everybody looks at them. We just never have carried it over into the period when we're assessing the cost because the house is already gone by then. So we usually show the pictures of the house. There are holes in the walls, holes in the floor, holes in the ceiling, and they're unsafe structures when and at the time that we do the condemnation on the house.
Thank you, Mayor Battle. Further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It carries. Now is the time and place for a public hearing on a resolution authorizing the city clerk treasurer to assess the cost of the boarding and securing against certain properties. Ms. Jordan?
Yes, Mr. Russell, the attached resolution authorizes the assessment for the 8 properties listed. All procedural requirements for declaring, securing, and billing these nuisances have been completed in accordance with the City of Huntsville Code of Ordinances, and I'm asking for your approval to assess the cost. The total cost for the 8 properties was $2,048.53. That was an average cost of $256.07 per property.
Thank you, Ms. Jordan. Does anyone from the public wish to address the council on this particular issue? Mr. Timberlake, you know the routine.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ralph Timberlake, 2117 Atkins Drive. I rise to offer my opposition to this so that the record would reflect that there was a voting citizen who did offer their opposition to this and who demanded the due process be adhered to, even though others may be silent. I would like to quote something, Mr. President, if you would indulge me.
Please do.
Aristotle said, "A man is the noblest of all animals, separated from law and justice. He's the worst."
Your comments will be included in the record. Pastor Johnson, do you wish to comment on this issue?
Just a question of,
Sure.
is it done by?
If you could state your name and address.
T.C. Johnson, 1800 Sparkman Drive. Just this question of, is this done by contractors to include the other properties, or is it done by the city?
Sure.
That was never answered.
We'll get you that answer. Does anyone else wish to address the council? The public hearing is now closed. The chair moves for approval. Second by Mr. Culver. Ms. Jordan, apparently we didn't answer the question good enough. Does the city do this? Does a contractor do it? How do you decide who's going to do what?
City staff does both the demolition for the previous items, and city staff did the boarding and securing.
Thank you very much. Council members, further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It carries. Now is the time and place for a public hearing on a resolution authorizing the city clerk treasurer to assess the cost of the cleanup and removal of debris against certain properties.
Yes, Mr. Russell, this property is 4704 Westwood Drive Northwest, and city staff did remove the debris found on this property, and we did follow all of the City of Huntsville Code of Ordinances.
Thank you. Does anyone from the public wish to address the council on this particular issue? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. The chair moves for approval.
Second.
A second by Mr. Kling. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It carries. Now is the time and place for a public hearing on a resolution authorizing the city clerk treasurer to assess the cost of cutting and removing of grass and weeds against certain properties. Ms. Jordan?
Yes, Mr. Russell, the attached resolution authorizes the assessment for 37 properties listed. These were properties where people, homeowners did not cut their grass. Unfortunately, these properties became nuisances for their neighbors, and the City of Huntsville cut the grass, and we are now assessing those property owners for our cost. 7 of the property owners are out of state, and the total amount that the city incurred for cutting was $7,906.60. I'm asking for your approval tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Jordan. Does anyone from the public wish to address the council on this particular issue? Mr. Timberlake, please state your name and address for the record.
Ralph Timberlake, 2117 Atkins Drive. Mr. President, I'm riding because I don't know if the mayor's statements address my concern. That is about the cost of pictures that can be associated with these particular types of public hearings, because I think it would serve the public well to be able to have a visual of these properties, as opposed whenever they are brought up. They used to have them. I don't know what happened to them. I thought it was a very useful tool, and if it doesn't cost too much, I respectfully ask that, that the mayor would entertain asking community development to reinstitute that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Does anyone else wish to address the council on this particular issue? Public hearing is now closed. The chair moves for approval.
Second.
Second by Mr. Kling. Mr. Timberlake, pictures are available, not of the cutting of grass and weeds, but they are available. That has already happened, and now we're just doing the assessing of tearing it down. But I'll explain it to you later, and we'll make sure you get pictures if you want them. Does anyone else have discussion tonight? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It carries. We have public hearings to be set. We have a resolution to set a public hearing on an ordinance zoning 38.92 acres of newly annexed property lying on the east side of Old Big Cove Road and north of Hampton Ridge to Residence 1A District. This will be set March 23rd, 2017 at the regular council meeting. The chair moves to set the hearing.
Second.
Second by Mr. Kling. Discussion? All those in favor of setting the hearing say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It carries. We have a resolution to set a public hearing on an ordinance zoning 1.16 acres of newly annexed property lying on the north side of Hartside Road and north of Victoria Hills Drive to Residence 1A District. This will be set for the March 23rd, 2017 regular council meeting. The chair moves to set the hearing.
Second.
Second by Mr. Keith. Discussion? All those in favor of setting the hearing say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It carries. We're now at communications from the public. When I call your name, please go to the microphone, state your name and address for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes to discuss any subject you wish to. Mr. Timberlake, welcome back.
Ralph Timberlake, 2117 Atkins Drive, Huntsville, Alabama, 35810. First of all, I'd like to say congratulations to Mr. Session and Mr. Strange, Luther Strange, our former Attorney General, who is now our new junior senator from the great state of Alabama, and Mr. Session, who is now our Attorney General for the United States. I'm hoping that both of those gentlemen will see that due process is become the way that which we all will learn to love it as our founding fathers did. I rise to talk about transparency and trespassing. And the reason I bring those two together is because I sought to exercise my rights under the Alabama Sunshine Law of Open Records and 5 U.S.C. 552 with the city school board to ascertain records so I could be or so I could exercise good stewardship as a voting constituent in this district. I was threatened with trespassing. One of those issues that I have brought before this city before, that this trespassing or trespass warnings are being used to impede, encumber, hamper, obfuscate, deter, and stop citizens from exercising of their rights. This is something that should not be tolerated. It is something that should taste of gall in all people who love justice and righteousness and mercy. To that end, I don't know how we can teach our children to love something that we seem to act in abhorrence to. To that end, I don't know what this board can do to assist me, but I understand that the city allocates money to the school board. I respectfully ask that my money, my taxpayer dollars, will not be done in such a way that what this country came about is, and that is taxation without representation. I should have a right, a sacred right, an invalid right to pursue documents from my public officials, and they should respond to me in a respectful manner as I do them. Anything less is not only an affront to me, but it should be an affront to every citizen of Huntsville and every freedom-loving person in this world. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Timberlake. Mr. Donald L. Johnson. Mr. Johnson, if you'll state your name and address for the record.
My name is Donald Johnson, 445 Providence Main Street, Huntsville, Alabama.
Welcome.
I want to address some property I own at 4320 University Drive. This is adjacent to Districts 1, 4, and 5 of the City Council. I was riding down the road about a year ago, and a city official called and said I can spend $102,000 to improve my property. And my response was, I think you got the wrong number. You know, you tell me what I could, I didn't know what it was. But she was right. There's a law that FEMA passed that my property is now in a floodplain. This property is 56 years old, never been in a floodplain, but now it is. And this is the notice that FEMA sends out. And I'm familiar with FEMA and what they do. And what I didn't know, on page 7, they restrict how you can improve your property. I already knew that new construction had to go through FEMA and floodplain, but I never knew that to refurbish your property, you had to go to a certain limit. You can spend 1/2 of the appraised value of your property. So I'm sort of in a quandary on that. When FEMA came in, that sent me to 3 different city agencies, zoning, inspection, and planning. Well, zoning and inspection are at loggerheads on this. Inspection tells me I have to improve this property to meet code. I'm familiar with that. Zoning now tells me I cannot spend my own money to improve my own property, only up to a certain number. And I've already spent probably $180,000 before I realized I had a limit on how I could improve the neighborhood. So I'm here as a small business guy. I've been in small business my whole adult life, to ask the council and the mayor and the staff for some help. You know, this building I'm referring to, it's a brick building on a slab. If it did flood, we'd have to sweep it out, mop it out, and start over. It'd be my problem if it flooded. I would not come up to the council and say, hey, my building flooded, go fix it. I would fix it. So,
So, Ms. Johnson, your time's up. We're certainly sympathetic. If I could, Mr. Hamilton, could you meet with Mr. Johnson and maybe get him to the right person and try to see?
We can have Shane Davis.
Okay.
Yeah, all the departments he's talking about report to Shane, and so Shane can.
Mr. Davis is right here, and please go meet with him and see if we can solve this, but we're sympathetic and understand your problem.
Thank you.
Mr. President?
Yes.
This gentleman contacted me and, told me we had an interesting discussion when he had contacted me about this. Basically, what he had told me, and sifting through all this, one department says that he needs to fix his property to bring it up to code, and I think any of us that, drive along University Drive would like to see all the properties, upgraded as best as they can possibly be upgraded. Here's a guy that wants to do it with his own money. And then he's got another department that says he can only spend X dollars. And he had told me, and Mr. Johnson, if I'm putting words in your mouth, cut me off. You told me that what you were going to do was to bring your property in compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act.
Oh, yes.
And if that's what you're doing, I'm just saying that it's kind of getting ridiculous.
And sorry,
Like a
Mr. Johnson.
federal law, you know?
Yes, sir. And so, Ms. Kling, is your point, did you help him, or?
No, he had talked to me. He told me he was coming down here. What I just happened to think about afterward would be, is there a way he could just sign some sort of a waiver where the city's not held responsible if he gets flooded out?
Okay.
But
And we don't know the answer right now. Mr. Davis is going to help you, sir. If you'll meet with Mr. Davis, and if you feel you're not being treated fairly, please get back with your councilman or any of us, and I'll be glad to help you. We're sympathetic. We do understand.
Thank you, council. Thank you, mayor. And thank you, staff.
Thank you. Mr. Davis, please work with him. Ms. Lenice Arnold. Welcome, Ms. Arnold. If you'll state your name and address for the record, please.
Lenice Arnold, 2112 Buckingham Drive, Huntsville, Alabama, 35803.
I come to you tonight on behalf of the North Alabama Coalition for the Homeless to share with you the information gathered on our point-in-time count, which was conducted on January the 30th. The point-in-time count is a mandate of HUD for us to receive our HUD funding for our supported housing programs here in Madison County. So the figures for North Alabama as a whole, which includes Decatur, Athens, and Huntsville, was 436 individuals. For Huntsville, we had 99 people in unsheltered. Well, that means the individuals that are out in the streets, living in cars or in the camps. In the emergency shelters, we had 268 individuals, and in our transitional or our permanent supported housing programs, we had 12 individuals. So our totals for Huntsville was 379 individuals. Unfortunately, this was an increase of about 90 individuals from 2016. 2016, our numbers were about 289. So we are seeing an increase in homelessness here in Huntsville. There are a couple of things that are factors that can contribute to that increase. Number one, as you remember, back in December of 2015, the Breaking Free Rescue Mission closed. There was about 48 individuals that were in the Breaking Free Rescue Mission. We were able to find some alternative housing placements. Some of them were able to go with families. So when we conducted our point-in-time count in January of 2016, those individuals were not among those numbers. Unfortunately, some of those individuals' placements have not worked out, so we are seeing some of those individuals that have returned to homelessness. Another factor was the First Stop Permanent Supported Housing Program. Over the last 2 years, it had about 27 units, and that program has disbanded. At a point in time, it housed about 27 to 30 individuals. So with that program no longer being in existence, and we no longer having those housing units available, some of those individuals are back in our homeless count numbers too. So that is one of the two of the contributors to why we see an increase in homelessness in Huntsville. Any questions?
Yes, Ms. Arnold, could you send us those statistics to each council member by email? Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
Mr. Keith, do you have a question?
I just want to ask, when you do your reviews, is this monthly review or quarterly review or yearly period?
Okay, so the point in time done is done annually. The last week of January nationally is a mandate by HUD, so we do it during that period.
So you don't know when the growth might have happened. Is it gradual or if it's exaggerated because of you just don't know when the growth came specifically?
Well, throughout the year, we receive different reports. Every week I receive a report from the outreach team that goes out to the camps. I have an outreach specialist that goes along with the outreach team. So we have the numbers of the individuals that are in the camps, as well as at our satellite office, we have the numbers of new individuals that we see. So we have a general idea throughout the year where we're getting fluctuations.
Okay. And you have a card on you?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Arnold. Ms. Jackie Reed?
Good evening.
Good evening, Ms. Reed. Please state your name and address for the record.
Thank y'all for allowing public input. Jackie Reed, Jack Holman Drive.
Welcome.
I was given this Valentine's present tonight. It's a hard hit because I think so much of Madison Square Mall being torn down. I know y'all are shouting, hallelujah, the mall is coming down. But I was given this by Mr. Engineering Shane Davis and said, since I said I was going to keep an eye on it out there, what y'all are going to do and how much money you're going to spend, this is what he gave me. But you know, I've got a hard head. I may not need this. So y'all may not have to worry about me. I think he's afraid I was going to get hurt, but I'm not worried about that.
Was that a question you needed the council to answer, or was that?
No, you don't have to answer
okay.
that.
So
I got it covered.
Trying to be responsive.
My boss is a man upstairs. He'll take care of it. I want to wish everybody, I just want to think tonight was my kind of government, seeing all these young people in here and a bunch of them recognized. I think it's great. And look at all the uniforms, troop number 3, whatever it is. They're here and they hear all this mess. And I hope they don't look at me as being bad, but I have to try to be good sometime. But anyway, the fire department and the police department, who does a good job, and all the city employees, but I personally don't think they're paid enough. Sometimes y'all reach a little deeper, like you do at the mall, and try to help them help themselves, and trying to help, instead of trying to help all the big money developers. Think about your city employees first. I have phone calls every day asking me about the traffic in our great city. It is getting bad. Call the mayor, I said. Talk to the mayor. Talk to the council and the mayor. We need some more police officers for the reckless drivers, speeding up and down the roads, causing more wrecks in this city. We want them all in here, but we're not trying to take care of what we got. I'd appreciate if y'all be looking into that. I was concerned the other day when I found a building permit sitting up here on this fence that said City of Huntsville's the owner of it, doing something down on Church Street in the park. I just hope and pray that none of you are building a restaurant over there on the other side of that bank building. I hope you're not going to spend taxpayers' dollars and do that. Here's the building permit, but I've been told that didn't have nothing to do with what y'all are doing. Maybe it don't, I don't know. But like I said, I got my eyes on everything. I don't want to be mean tonight. It is Valentine's Day. I just want you to look at the young people, think about it, what they do and everything. I'm not going to be mean till the end of the building. Anyway, end of the meeting. I appreciate letting everybody talk. I'll be back.
Thank you. We know you will.
Thank you.
All right. Pastor T.C. Johnson. If you would go to the microphone, we'll come get it from you.
T.C. Johnson, 1800 Sparkman Drive. This is my annual request for information under the open records law. I won't read it all. I will ask you to, in item 8, the year should have been 2016. My computer couldn't read my mind and put 17 there. So if you will, that's 2016 as opposed to 2017. And I've been doing this for some years, and I know it gets on your nerve, but I certainly appreciate the cooperation of always being served. I was thinking the other day, I've been around the world. As you know, I'm a retired command sergeant major. And regardless of what's happening in the political world, and I'll say this, there's no other country I would live in than the United States of America, because we have the right to check and balance and free speech and all of those things. And so I certainly appreciate being here. I know that when you do speak out, some people may not necessarily appreciate it, but as long as you do it intelligently and integrity the best you can, I find that this city works real well with us in doing so. I moved to an issue last week. Last council, there was some questions relative to the increase in the rates for Huntsville Utility. A question was asked, and it was never answered, or it was brought up. We needed 5 votes in order to pass this. Now, I don't think that was correct. I think any of the council persons who felt like they didn't agree or the constituents didn't agree could have voted against that on the last meeting. That was never asked, but it was suggested at the time that perhaps either you desired or wanted or had to have a 5-vote positive in order for that to pass. And I don't think that's the case, but just address that a minute for me tonight, if you will. The last thing I said earlier, I want to say how much I appreciate a system that will let its citizens stand up and voice their opinions and not be threatened by that. And I didn't recognize how important that was until I remember some of the places I've been around the world where citizens are killed and ran over and all kinds of things. And I thought about our country. Whether you like our political leaders or not, you have the right to voice your opinion. And that's something I appreciate. Thank you, Mr. President.
Sure. And Pastor Johnson, to answer your question, on most all items in front of the council, majority vote of the members is all required. So it's not the members that are there. It's the majority vote of 5 members. So 3 votes will pass almost anything. There are a few special exceptions, but we normally talk about those before we do that. Thank you. There are no Huntsville utility items tonight. There are no board appointments to be voted on. Are there any board appointment nominations? Moving on, we're at approval of expenditures. 10A is a resolution authorizing expenditures for payment. Mr. Kling.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move for payment of vouchers in the amount of $4,038,953.29. Second.
A motion by Mr. Kling, a second by Mr. Culver. Discussion?
Yes.
Mr. Keith.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Sergeant, everybody didn't get this wonderfully done Excel sheet that I have in front of me, but as I look at it, is there a way that you can give just a quick summation, of our breakdown in spending and sort of as we look at some of these months in October and November and December, why these percentages look this certain way, and then you see this spike at 27.3% maybe in January?
For expenditures or revenues?
Both if you want to, just a quick summation.
Well, our revenues have spiked in January because we received our December sales and use tax payments. That we always receive tax on the 20th of the following month. So you see that spike up to 27% on the revenues for the month of January because of your Christmas revenues coming in. Historically, we have done a flat 1/12 of the budget spread across 12 months, which is not how revenues are actually earned by the city.
Right.
We're currently evaluating possibly redoing that spread to a more cyclical process of how the money is truly earned to get a reasonable ratio on that. If you look at the year-to-date number, you'll see that we're at 3.5% over budget for the year, which is about where we expected to be at this point in time.
And you're basically arguing that, certain months are more expensive than other months.
For our revenue generation,
Yes, ma'am.
yes.
Can you give me the breakdown of, our sales tax, where that goes, what that is, that percentage base, and so forth?
Yes, our sales tax is split three ways. Just over 67% goes into the general fund to take care of the city's operations. An additional 18% goes into the 1990 capital fund to take care of infrastructure. And then an additional 14.7% goes to the Huntsville City Schools by city ordinance.
And what does that usually turn out to be, if you had last year's?
Just over $20 million.
Just over 20. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chair.
Further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It carries. Mr. Kling, do you have a Finance Committee report?
No, Mr. President, that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Kling. Mayor Battle.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to remind everybody, tonight was really a special night when we got to see some of the work that some of our public safety officials do. And I'm sorry, but we had one person get sick. We had a life-saving medal for the police department, which we'll do at another time too. But it was really very special for us to be able to sit here and see the hard work and the planning and the training and how it plays out in a real-life situation, which you really kind of hope that you don't have those real-life situations, but you watch those and you see our guys come through and how well they come through and how well they work together and how well they protect the citizens of Huntsville. And so my hat's off to everybody in the public safety field and to all our employees who work hard on a day-to-day basis to make sure that the right thing happens. Our guys train on a day-to-day basis. Even as far as getting down to our sanitation guys and as getting to our public works guys, they all train. They train on safety. They train on working together. They train on teamwork. And it was a special night to watch those guys. If you didn't get kind of a tear in your eye during that, you need to rethink things. Just remember, this is Black History Month, and at several branch libraries, we're going to have kid-friendly movies celebrating that, including the Richard Shower Center Library tomorrow from 3:30 to 5. There's free admission for Barrett on the Mountain on February 19th from 12 to 4. And the Huntsville-Madison County Public Forum on February 20th here in the council chambers, starting at 7 and going to who knows how long, for the local senators and representative in the Madison County delegation. That's always an interesting thing to watch because you can see issues that maybe hadn't even hit your radar yet, but there are issues that there's lots of issues out there that come before the legislature. And we were in Montgomery this past Tuesday, Wednesday, and came back this morning, and the legislature has their hands full. They introduced 300 bills in the first day, and and they're lengthy bills, and how they ever get through any of those, I don't know. But we say thank you to them for their service and for serving us. But if you want to come down and have public to be heard time, you can have all night of public to be heard time on February 20th here in the council chambers at 7 p.m. with the legislature, so please come down.
Thank you, Mayor Battle. Mr. Kling.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, I'd like to say hi to Mr. Thomas Steele, who recently turned 80 years old, watching tonight's meeting. He lives over on 8th Avenue, and we wish him well and appreciate his interest in city government. He's a good man. He will call me, and he will straighten me out whenever he thinks I need to be straightened out. And I think all of us up here would say, similar to what Reverend Johnson had said a few minutes ago, we are fortunate to live in the society that we are, and up here we do appreciate the input that we get from the citizens. Even Mrs. Reed, happy Valentine's Day. On February the 20th, I'll be having my monthly town meeting, 6 o'clock at the library. Everyone's invited, very informal, and we are always glad to talk about problems, hear solutions, even occasionally take an occasional compliment. But it's a good learning process for me, and I appreciate the people that show up. One thing I wanted to point out, at the last meeting, as Reverend Johnson pointed out, we did discuss and we did vote on the Huntsville utility rate increase. During the discussion, some of the utility folks made reference to the fact that their bond rating was in jeopardy because the rate increase was voted down by the city council. That was a 3-2 vote, and I'd like to point, or 3-2, that it was voted down 8 months ago. I would like to point out for the record that I did talk to Mr. Stowe of Huntsville Utilities over a year ago, and he had told me what was being proposed. And I told him at the time that I couldn't support a 50% access fee increase because I thought that was unfair for the low income and elderly who lived in smaller houses. And I said I would certainly enthusiastically, understand their situation, and that I would support a rate increase based on percentage, which is basically what they brought out. It was based on percentage usage, so that the person that lives in a 3,000 square foot house is going to use more utilities, pretty much, and would pay more of that increase versus the low income person who I guess we would think of as living in a smaller house. For that reason, I don't think it's fair to put it on the city council. Mr. Stowe did not come back with a plan B at the time, but I did tell him up front, well before he first came before the city council, I could support a percentage increase based on usage. And again, that is not what he brought up, and then there was not a plan B. I even followed up with that following the vote being defeated by the council on a 3-2 vote, that if he came back very shortly, as quickly as possible, with a percentage increase, I would support it. And doing the math, seeing that he already had 2 votes, mathematically, that would be your 3rd vote right there, regardless of what other council members may have done. So everybody's can debate things. I've tried to put my cards on the table, and I think I had a record of what I said I would and would not support, and I just kind of wanted to clear the air on where I stood. Again, it's pointed out, this recent increase, I think Huntsville Utilities made a very good case, and again, I like the proposal being based on percentage increase, so that those who use the more are going to be paying more of that increase. And they've only had 3 increases since the late 1980s. And in fairness, they pointed out a 20,000 vehicle 5 or 6 years ago cost 28,000 this year. And we're at the time of year where we really, really, really want to make sure that our utilities are not interrupted by ice or wind. And I think they have a great maintenance team to take care of all that. So just want to kind of put my cards on the table on that. A couple quick things, Mr. President. I want to commend, I and I believe other council members had been contacted by the Huntsville Ballet. They have made a very generous offer to give 100 tickets to our respective districts. And I have made contact with Alan and Deborah Jenkins from Merrimack Hall, and they are going to be the recipient of this very generous gift of 100 tickets from Huntsville Ballet. And that'll be used to provide admission for many people in the community in Southwest Huntsville and the community as a whole who might not otherwise have access to a ballet performance or would be able to afford it. Also, I want to congratulate and commend Dan Sanders from Traffic Engineering. He's done great work over the last couple of weeks with the problems that we've had with students at Huntsville High School not parking in the school parking lot, but parking off campus at Gallatin and Rhett Avenues, and he is taking care of the problems that have existed with blockage of those roads with cars parked on both sides, and also in some cases driveways being blocked. And I want to thank Dan. He's got signage up for no parking on school days from 7 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon. He's already got them up for both sides of Gallatin Street, and within the next couple of weeks, they will be going up on Rhett Avenue. Also, want to commend and thank Danny Shea from Natural Resources. He and Walker McGinnis from the school board have been working together. There's been a problem with all of the city school buses being parked over in an area next to a residential area where Berkshire and Baywood Drives are located. And we've had complaints about people being woken up 6 and 5 o'clock in the morning with the school buses cranking their engines and revving them up. And thank to both Danny and to Walker for the work they've done to get this problem corrected. We're not there yet, but there's been progress made, and we've got a lot of good people that are working on that. And that's all I have, Mr. President, and thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Keith.
Thank you, Chair. I want to say to the Boy Scouts that are here, this is a very unique moment every time I see it come in. I think this is the community citizenship badge, if I remember correctly. And I have a unique picture. I took one in the city of D.C. with our former congressional leader, Bud Kramer. And, you know, I remember sitting there listening to him say blah, 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 blah. And I didn't know much of anything, but almost 13 years later, I still don't know much of anything, but I'm sitting behind the dais. So it's very important. You know, Boy Scouts sort of changed my life. I did not reach Eagle, but I got my heart. And, you know, listen to your Scout Masters, listen to everybody in your family that tells you the importance of what you're doing, but more so than anything, just enjoy the friendship. All my Boy Scout friends that I grew up with are still here in the city of Huntsville, so just enjoy this, enjoy the friendship. And we're very, very pleased to have you and to the leadership. Thank you so much for the commitment. It's a true commitment that goes without thank you, so thank you very much. I also wanted to say that next week there will be a State of the City, which I think is very important that everybody who can make it, considering the shift in our community. It's a wonderful opportunity to meet everybody else who's involved. It goes beyond the board, just like us. We have, you know, the basement through the 6th floor that make us. You get a chance to meet everybody else in the school system. That's at 7 a.m. at the Jackson Center, if I remember correctly. I also wanted to say thank you to Mr. Shane and his department. I'm here to give a shameless plug. Do not flush baby wipes. It is very interesting as you go to a department like sewer to see the stuff they deal with. But you have a new appreciation for the people who don't mind getting dirty for the betterment of our Huntsville. And he has done a wonderful job, and he has a wonderful department and everybody that works with him. And I was very thankful for that. Tomorrow's a big day for Northwest Huntsville Industrial Park. We are truly blessed with the hard work of the administration here, as well as the chamber. We will have an announcement out there on Industrial Park about it being an advantage site and putting Northwest Huntsville on the map, not just in the regional area, but as a state and as a nation as well. That's at 10 o'clock out in Industrial Park. And finally, I want to say that there's a rally around our youth. Our state rep, Laura Hall, has been passionate about the education of youth. That'll be on Monday at the Richard Shower Center. I invite everybody to come out and voice their concerns, especially for somebody as she goes into session. And finally, I want to say it's good to see familiar faces from my district. Ms. Tibbs is here, who stays on me through Facebook, through text, through calls, and it's a blessing to have my district in the building. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Keith. Mr. Culver.
Thank you, Mr. President. Councilman Clean, I was surprised that you were able to get that much information on just a little small piece of paper there. And Councilman Keith, I regret that I will not be in attendance at your event on tomorrow. It's a very special occasion. Our administrative assistant, Ms. McWilliams, has me booked with 2 appointments here at that same time, which were on the schedule from some time out. Mayor, I certainly, and Mr. President, I was really moved by what happened with the fire department. And some of you may know, I mean, public service is what I've done all of my life. And too many times, people don't get the recognition that they deserve. And tonight, it was a highlight for the fire department. Tomorrow, it could be the police department. The next time, it could be engineering. It could be the courts. It could be various departments. Mayor, we are truly blessed to have this great group of City of Huntsville employees. And anytime we can recognize them, it's incumbent upon us to do that, just to express our appreciation. I won't belabor you. Just a happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I'm sorry, happy Thanksgiving. Happy Valentine's Day. Miss Reed and I have something in common. I know that she has lost a loved one. I just want to reiterate, it was Valentine's Day that I buried my son in 1986. I'm at a point now where I can truly celebrate Valentine's Day. So I say all of that to say to all of you a very, very happy Valentine's Day. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Culver. And Mayor Battle, you had an appointment to make?
Right. I have two things. I'm sorry, Mr. President, coming back. First off, we'd like to congratulate Representative Anthony Daniels. He was put into elected to a floor leadership position in the House of Representatives of the Alabama Legislature, and we'd like to congratulate him on that. Also, I'd like to appoint Andy Sumners to the Design Review Committee of Research Park West. Andy is a local engineer and will be a great asset on that committee. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. We're now at 13, unfinished business items for action. 13A is ordinance number 17-045, amending Chapter 25, Article 4, Division 2, Section 23-245F, fees and rates for off-street parking facilities of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Huntsville, Alabama, extending the discount for parking at Central Business District facilities owned by the City of Huntsville until February 9, 2018. This was introduced January 26, 2017 at the regular council meeting. The chair moves for approval.
Second.
Second by Mr. Kling. Is there discussion? Mayor Battle, do you have someone that can give a brief explanation of this?
Sure.
Mr. Brown.
Mr. Brown is here, ready to go, and is just.
He didn't jump up at the microphone.
He's
That's what I was
excited
wondering.
about being able to get on.
Mr. Brown, please introduce yourself.
Mr. President Pro Tem, I speak when spoken to. But I'm Tommy Brown. I'm Director of Parking and Public Transportation. What this ordinance does is extends for an additional year a discount that we provide for new businesses that are moving into the downtown area. Essentially, it's a half rate that we charge them based on the number of employees that they bring in. It's been very successful over the last couple of years, and additionally, in addition to giving the rate increase, it gives us a lot of discretion about which garages, lots. If we have a big business that comes in, a lot fills up, we can take that out of the program. So it gives us the discretion that we need to make practical decisions. So we'd appreciate your positive consideration on this.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It carries. We have 6 items for introduction. 14A is the introduction of an ordinance amending Ordinance 8979 Classification and Salary Plan Ordinance. B is the introduction of an ordinance amending Budget Ordinance Number 16-659 to modify the authorized strength in various departments. C is the introduction of an ordinance concerning the annexation of 1 acre of land lying on the north side of Kennedy Lane and east of Old Big Cove Road. D is the introduction of an ordinance concerning the annexation of .93 acres of land lying on the north side of Plainview Drive and west of U.S. Highway 431 South. E is the introduction of an ordinance amending certain provisions of Chapter 3 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Huntsville, Alabama. F is the introduction of an ordinance amending Chapter 3, Article 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Huntsville, Alabama to add Section 3-29 Butler Green Arts and Entertainment District. Those 6 items have been properly introduced.
President?
Mr. Kling.
At the request from some citizens, I wanted to ask, could somebody give a brief overview of what F is about the Butler Green?
Mr. McGuffey, could you do that, please?
Sure. Jim McGuffey, Planning Department. Council members, F is an introduction to create a entertainment district at the Butler Green facility. This is the old Stone Middle School. The site will be part of an entertainment district, and a few surrounding properties will be included as well in the boundary The hours of operation for this district will be similar to the downtown entertainment districts. They have created their minimums for 4 alcohol beverage retailers, so we're moving forward to create an entertainment district.
Thank you. I just want to say this has been a great success between the school system, the mayor and his staff, your department, and thank you to all neighborhood folks nearby. They're very happy. Y'all just promised no amphitheaters or anything like that, but it's been a great urban renewal project, and people from West Lawn, Low Mill, and Merrimack are all very, very appreciative of the great work y'all have done.
Councilmembers, we're now at 15 new business items for consideration or action. Per our practice, if you'll notify the chair of any items you'd like to hold.
Yes, Chair.
The chair holds 15W.
Could you hold M as well?
M is in Mary.
Yes, sir.
M will be held. Are there any others? We're holding M as in Mary and W. Hearing none. 15A is an ordinance amending budget ordinance number 16-659 by changing appropriating funding for various departments and funds. B is an ordinance amending budget ordinance number 16-659 by changing the authorized personnel strength in various departments and funds. C is an ordinance amending budget ordinance number 16-659 preliminary carry forward amounts for various departments and funds. D is a request for authorization to advertise and fill 1 regular full-time position of administrative aide to the Director of Finance. E is a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter an independent audit agreement between the City of Huntsville and Warren Averett LLC Certified Public Accountants. F is a resolution authorizing a special employment agreement between the City of Huntsville and Jessica Lauren White, Huntsville Historic Preservation Consultant. G is a request for authorization to advertise and fill the position of 1 Secretary 2, Grade 10. H is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute modification number 1 to the agreement between the City of Huntsville and Robin D. Cox, dated July 28, 2016, as adopted by the City Council of the City of Huntsville by resolution number 16-536. I is a resolution authorizing the mayor to agreement for cooperative maintenance of the public right-of-way between the Alabama Department of Transportation and the City of Huntsville, Alabama. J is a resolution authorizing the mayor into agreement between the City of Huntsville and the low bidder Dunlap Contracting, Inc. for Goldsmith Schiffman Sanctuary Sign rebid, project number 6515 SP02. K is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute modification number 2 to the agreement between the City of Huntsville, Alabama and North Alabama Coalition for the Homeless, Inc. L is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute modification number 1 to the agreement between the City of Huntsville, Alabama and Community Action Partnership of Huntsville, Madison, and Limestone Counties, Inc. N is a resolution authorizing the mayor to agreement between the City of Huntsville, Alabama and the Philanthropy and Knowledge Legacy Community Development Corporation for 2016 Community Development Block Grant. O is a resolution authorizing the mayor to agreement between the City of Huntsville, Alabama and the Alabama Nonviolent Offenders Organization, Inc. for Community Development Block Grant funds. P is a resolution authorizing the mayor in agreement between the City of Huntsville, Alabama and the Boys and Girls Club of North Alabama, Inc. for 2016 Community Development Block Grant funds. Q is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute modification number 2 to the agreement between the City of Huntsville and Family Services Center, Inc. for the purpose of modifying budgeted lines and time of performance for the renovation of LIFT funds funded by the Home Investment Partnership Funds. R is a resolution authorizing the mayor to an agreement between the City of Huntsville, Alabama and Harris Home for Children, Inc. for 2016 Community Development Block Grant funds. S is a resolution authorizing the mayor in agreement between the City of Huntsville, Alabama and the Village of Promise, Inc. for 2016 Community Development Block Grant funds. T is a resolution authorizing the clerk treasurer to invoke Bryant Bank Letter of Credit number 1226 for Magna Carta Place subdivision. U is a resolution authorizing the clerk treasurer to invoke Bryant Bank Letter of Credit number 1227 for Magna Carta Place subdivision. V is a resolution authorizing the mayor into a real estate agreement between the City of Huntsville and McCrary Limited Partnership. X is a resolution authorizing the mayor into agreement between the City of Huntsville and the State of Alabama Department of Transportation for removal, installation, operation, and maintenance of traffic control signals at University Boulevard at Madison Square Mall, project number 7117 SP03. Y is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute modification number 3 to the agreement between the City of Huntsville and Johnson Associates Consulting Engineers, LLC, for engineering services for NPDES permitting and inspections for John Hunt Park, project number 6512 SP19. Z is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute the memorandum of understanding between the City of Huntsville and Huntsville City Schools Board of Education, ETV, for live stream video services. Double A is a resolution authorizing the mayor to a lease agreement between the City of Huntsville and the Arts Council, Inc., doing business as Arts Huntsville for the Panoply Arts Festival. Double B is a resolution authorizing acceptance of grant funding for Merrimack Soccer Complex. Double C is a resolution authorizing acceptance of grant funding for Showers Recreational Center. Double D is a request for authorization to advertise and fill one regular full-time aquatics mechanical supervisor, grade 15, at higher than minimum rate if necessary. Double E is a request for authorization to advertise and fill one regular full-time aquatics training and safety programmer position, grade 13, at higher than minimum rate if necessary. Double F is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute the Cooperative Agreement State Homeland Security Grant Program Assistance Letter of Agreement, award number 6 LEL from Alabama Law Enforcement Agency for Regional Mutual Aid Teams. Double G is a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter a U.S. Communities Facility Solution Agreement between the City of Huntsville and Centis Corporation for uniform and workwear rental and laundry services. The chair moves for consolidation and approval of 15A through 15L, 15N through V, 15X through 15 double G.
Second.
There's a motion for consolidation approved by the chair, second by Mr. Culver. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It carries. We're now at 15M. 15M is a resolution authorizing the mayor to an agreement between the City of Huntsville, Alabama and CASA Inc. for 2016 Community Development Block Grant Funds. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Kling, seconded by Mr. Culver. Ms. Jordan, could you explain this, please?
Yes, Mr. Russell, Council, this agreement will allow CASA to provide weatherization activities and to remove and install grab bars for their citizenry.
Thank you.
The
Further
public
discussion?
that they serve.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Ms. Jordan. And I guess the bigger point here I want to understand is the CDBG grant fund. Is there a way you can just give me a consolidated point of what that is and how we spend that, where that dollar comes from?
Sure, Mr. Keith. The city is an entitlement city, which is a designation that HUD gives to cities that meet certain criteria. As a result, we get an annual grant from HUD. We get both a community development block grant and we get a home partnership grant from HUD annually. Our community development block grant has an option to make public service grants to nonprofits if you so choose. And so the city of Huntsville has, over many decades, given public service grants to agencies that meet the needs of our citizens. We're able to grant up to 15% of our grant, and our grant it hovers around $1.1 million. So we take that grant and add any program income that we might have received in the previous year, come up with 15%, and that's how we determined our funding amount and found agencies that met our needs.
Yes, ma'am. And to your knowledge, so when nonprofits come to us or individuals come to the 7th floor and ask for support for their nonprofits, a lot of times when it comes to these CDBG grants, these are federal dollars, but the indicator, or let's just say the correlation, is to the amount that we receive federally. So we will have to decrease the amount if we get less federal dollars, correct?
That's correct.
And to your knowledge, would you say that most nonprofits, once they start getting a certain level of funding and get used to it, they operate at that level of funding?
They do.
If we were to lose the CDBG grant, do you think that those operations, those nonprofits, would still want the amount of funding that they're getting now?
Oh, absolutely. They want that plus.
They want that plus.
That was the easiest question you'll get all night.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And how much would you say, in your professional opinion, it has dropped?
Well, gosh, about 15 years or so ago, we got $2 million plus from HUD. So it's dropped about 0.5%. I mean, yeah, about 50%.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chair.
Sure.
Thank you, Ms. Keith. Further discussion?
I might
Mayor Bowden.
also point out that there are lots of rules and guidelines as to guiding how we can spend this money, and some of the rules of the fair housing and some other things that all come into play in this in this federal dollars that we have to that we spend each year. You know, it's a great thing to work on neighborhood facilities that help out, bring up neighborhoods. But there are a lot of guidelines in there that you have to watch every detail of. That's why you have so many people really guiding this money and making sure that the money is spent properly. There are rules and regulations that, if not met, they can HUD can come back in on penalty rules and require you to pay back and even do more. So is something that we have to watch very, very carefully, especially our recipients, and make sure that they meet the guidelines that have been put out there on the federal guidelines.
Thank you, Mayor Battle. Further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It carries. 15W is a resolution authorizing the mayor to sign the plat entitled City Center Replat of Lot 1 and Lot 2. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Kling, seconded by Mr. Culver. Mr. McGuffey, could you explain why we're doing this?
Yes, sir. Council members, this is city-owned property here at City Center, and they're replatting the property to align with the new streetscape plan that's going to be in the front of this tract. And in doing so, it requires the mayor's signature before the planning department.
A very routine matter.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Further discussion?
Does this impact the number of lanes? I know there's been discussion about 2 lanes, 4 lanes, or putting cobblestone down for a walkway.
Yeah, the road design's still in its phase of alignment and getting these details down to order. But right now, we know the width of the overall design, and that's what we're matching, is where the width of design of the road meets the property, private property.
Thank you. Further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It carries. We have one legal department item, 16A, vacation of easement, 16A1, ordinance vacating a portion of a utility and drainage easement between lots 25 and 26, Silo Hill Phase 2, Brennan Lane. The chair moves for approval.
Second.
Second by Mr. Culver. Discussion? All those in favor of vacating, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It carries. We're now at non-roster communications from the public. If you'd like to address the council, please go to one of the microphones and line up, and you'll have 3 minutes to address the council. Ms. Reed, if you give name and address again for the record. Thank you.
Jackie Reed, Jack Holman Drive.
Welcome.
Is it true that the legislative meets in this office on the 20th of this month? All the legislators,
It was in the paper this morning. I'll find the date. I don't know for sure.
I think it is, and I'd like for the whole city to come in here and see what they do. But anyway, I think it is the 20th, Clean, when you announced your town hall meeting. But anyway, I would like to bring up why we need to hire, why on the Channel 42, we do not have, I can't get into City Hall to find out. I can call, I guess. I'm going to make an appointment every day next week with somebody where I can get in. So y'all get ready, because if I have to make an appointment and be escorted in and out, I'll be in here. I'm fixing to start making appointments. I don't understand why on Channel 42 we do not have the meetings that goes on in this city for the people to see. Every time I turn it on, it's like a talk radio show. We got somebody out there talking and entertaining, and I don't understand why we don't carry on city business with some of the meetings and tell the public where the meetings are going on. I can't, I sit there and watch all these people talking. I hadn't been invited on that show yet, and it's probably a good thing. Why do we have to hire expert planners in this city? Expert planners, when I seen y'all gonna waste a lot of money, somebody to come in from out of town and do a master plan of the downtown. I don't get that. When I read that in the paper as to about what that's gonna cost, do we not have any professional businessmen or women in this city that could sit down and try to draw out what you think we need instead of bringing some people, experts from out of town? I don't get that. It's really hard for me to see that we don't have professionals in this city instead of coming up with that. And then I see where you got John Hunt Park. You're fixing to hire a bunch to go into John Hunt Park. And in the school system, Board of Education, nobody explains none of this stuff. The city of Huntsville and the Huntsville City Schools, are they gonna use our Channel 42 to do the same thing that you all are doing? I mean, somebody needs to explain what's going on there. Of course, this is a non-roster communication, so I guess I found out with some of my meetings. Anyway, we're gonna tear up John Hunt Park. We're gonna hire some people in there to do that. I just wish, like when you laid out that park over there, Big Spring Park, all you were gonna do was go around the edge of that and concrete that. But you did not. You tore up the whole park. All I ask of this city government, tell the public the truth and what you're gonna do and how much money it costs. That's all I ask you. Don't lay a little plan out here and double
Ms. Reed,
it up.
your time's up.
I've said enough. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to address the council?
Move to adjourn?
We're adjourned.
Thank you. Yeah,